This is Private Matters. I'm Max van Praag, and the purpose of this show is to inspire people around the world about having happier and healthier intimate relationships. I'm speaking here with authors, with practitioners, with therapists, with people who have very fascinating and unusual journeys, and hopefully you'll be able to make new choices and open your mind to what's possible in your intimate relationship. Today's show is about bonding and attachment, and my guests are Carista Luminare and Goodman, who are writing the book Confused About Love. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is your second time on Private Matters. You were actually a guest on the very first shoot that we did.
Yes.
And now you're bringing your partner.
My beloved partner, who I practice the awakening with.
You're bringing Lion, and Lion, welcome. This is your first time on Private Matters.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
And you've been a great supporter of the show. I really am very grateful of our friendship and everything you've been doing for the show. And just for the viewers to understand, you're a man who's totally devoted to transformation. You've devoted your whole life to personal transformation and supporting other men, helping people change their beliefs. You've taught classes for many years in changing beliefs. You lead men's groups. You've done a lot of work. And I look forward to our conversation today, where I hope you're gonna tell how all of that has led to this relationship with Carista.
Inner work has great outer results. Yeah.
Carista has focused on bonding and attachment for years. You are an author and a counselor and a coach, and now you are coaching people together because your relationship is really blossoming, obviously.
Yes.
And so you're teaching classes and writing this book together.
Yes, we're teaching classes about the art and the science, the neuroscience behind bonding and attachment. Really what love is and what it isn't can be described in very precise ways, understanding what the neuroscience of attachment is and how your early life bonding styles with each parent actually affect the adult intimacy dynamics.
Right. Yes, and you want to quickly give us the spiel about the different styles, so we are being reminded of what those styles are.
Yeah, as we went very deeply into what I'm going to share in essence, just so that the listener can understand some of the themes we're talking about, which is that when one is talking about bonding and attachment, or just the nature of the connection between two people, between two lovers, we see that people are either securely connected, what's called secure attachment, or playing out insecure attachment dynamics. So secure attachment, kind of the key themes are the couple, each partner makes the other a priority, their distress a priority, the empowerment of their true nature a priority, and that becomes a commitment that they maintain and sustain and strengthen. It's the need that we had as a child that we never outgrow, so says the neuroscience. And then we have insecure attachment, which is, through the literature, is defined in two different ways. There's what's called avoidant insecure attachment, where the dynamic between the two partners, often reflecting childhood dynamics, is one has a need to connect and the other avoids that need. And usually that avoidant type is the one that shuts down and withdraws and really disappears in the intimacy. And then the other insecure attachment style is called anxious attachment. That's usually the partner who pursues with a lot of criticism and anxiety and actually needs connection, or they go into an escalated state. So if they're with someone that avoids, then we often have these vicious cycles. And so we have very specific ways to help couples really break these cycles.
Right. And you've come from your own insecure attachment and in creating...
Rewiring each other.
That's right. Yeah, so I call myself a recovering avoidant, and Carista calls herself a recovering anxious type. So we are working in the relationship to heal these old patterns that we learned as infants. And the attachment that we're talking about is the attachment that a mother has for her child and the child has for its mother. And that particular relationship gets reflected all the way through to your adult relationships. So the programming that we got as children affects our adult relationships very, very deeply.
Yes. Yes, and you have had a long journey of many relationships.
Many wonderful relationships, each of which came with its own lessons and growth for me.
Yes.
The great news is that the neuroscience has shown us that we can actually rewire our insecure bonding styles to secure attachment. And that's what we've been exploring, how to do that and offer it in very practical ways to people. Yeah. And there's a few other nuances of those who have been traumatically attached, create an extra challenge for a couple if one or both have had a lot of trauma. It's extra understanding of how to really be there for each other to kind of crack the cycle. And
Is there something, an exercise that you could actually demonstrate that would make sense?
Sure. One of the things we teach is that there are 3 nonverbal love languages, and these nonverbal love languages are what a child needs when they're in distress. And they are touch, and they are the sound of the voice, and eye gazing. So when Carista is upset, for whatever reason, whether it's with me for something I've done, or because there's something else going on in life, she gets into an anxious state of, there's something wrong and we have to fix it. And so if I wanted to calm her down, and this is part of the brain science we teach, that the amygdala is the fear detector, the danger detector in the brain. And so if her limbic system, if her emotional brain is excited and afraid, then I want to calm her down. I want to get her back into a secure state. So if I try to do it logically, oh honey, there's nothing wrong, then that's not going
escalate.
to that's not going to calm her down.
Yeah.
So I need to go to these pre-verbal love languages, and so I reach out and touch her, and I say, so the touch is part of it. I gaze into her eyes, holding myself in presence, and let her know through my eyes that I'm here. And then I use my voice and say, "It's okay, honey. I've got you. It's going to be okay."
I feel really connected. It makes me feel safe to really share what I need to share with you.
and it gets really efficient, particularly when a couple is escalated in upset. For example, he, as an avoidant, would be more apt to withdraw, which would make me more anxious. So if I see him withdrawing, it's up to me to say, honey, I really need to know what you're feeling. I really care what you're feeling. I would love a connection. What's going on? If I do it as the angry, scary mother, upset with my eyes.
I'm out of here.
So the nonverbals become very important that couples don't understand. Or if my tone of voice sounds like his overbearing mother, it doesn't matter how much I want to connect. He's not going to want to connect with me as quickly as if I'm really being aware how I'm communicating my need. Particularly if he's disappearing.
I think the word need, because we all are so wary of neediness, right, in ourselves and in our partner. That's like the big
taboo,
the big monster. As long as I'm not appearing needy, but actually, if we would just say I feel needy right now, then somebody would come and say, oh well, then I want to comfort you.
Right.
But the neediness comes in all kind of
guises, tests,
sneaky ways.
Yeah.
And
Right. Well said, because babies are needy.
Yeah.
Infants need to be cared for. They need to be held. They need to be fed. They need to be nurtured and made comfortable. And so do adults. So we never outgrow this need to be held, to be talked to be nurtured, and to be loved. So the way to heal these old patterns is to go right back to that childhood need. And it's okay to be needy here. It's like we are human beings, we are needy, period.
Which was really a wake-up call. Being a relationship counselor for over 30 years, there was a piece I was missing, being one who was wired for insecure attachment, and spending a lot of time helping couples in these escalated reactive states. Why can't we crack the code? Because there is not an understanding that actually the need for connection with another is essential, and that we don't outgrow that need. So the couple has to really commit to want to be there for each other and be a source of safety and security.
Secure attachment don't only exist in a couple. I'm not in a couple,
Yeah.
and I have a lot of secure attachments with people I live with, people in my community, in my family, and I've learned, actually also inspired by the show that we did earlier, in distinguishing in my relationships who is a secure attachment and who is not a secure attachment, which is very helpful. And then I made a list of the people who were secure attachment, and those are the people who I would give more energy. So I think that these people feel secure, I'm going to give them more energy. But it's not only about the couple. In a show, the previous show today, we talked with a woman about women empowerment, and she did groups, and that was also very important for her relationship. And you do men's groups, and this is also very important.
Absolutely.
It's all important.
That's right. That's absolutely true. In men's work, we need to trust each other. That's the form that we call it when we're in relationship, when we're in a secure relationship. We trust each other. So man to man, it's about trust. Man to woman, it's about love. But it's the same thing. It's the same need. I need to know you're going to be there, which is trust. I need you to be good for your word, integrity. That gives me a sense of security, and I can relax around you. So the need is there in all of our relationships.
Would you say that too, that there's a place in your life about support outside?
Oh, absolutely. With my daughter, for example. I mean, I'm always practicing secure attachment. She's 17, and the love and the commitment and the sensitivity I gave her as an infant before she could talk is the same sensitivity I give her as a teen, that she knows that I am a safe source for her, as we say, an oasis in the desert of life. Those are the people that you have secure attachment with. My best girlfriends, one of my blood brothers. I mean, there are those that you just know you can go to 24/7 when you're in distress in particular. Those are the real, mature, integrated, secure attachment relationships. And the ones that you don't have that with, the couples that may be listening to this, you can learn, you can rewire. It's not like you're forever stigmatized.
You can learn it,
Oh yeah, very easily.
You know, the latest neuroscience says that the brain is a plastic medium. They call it neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity means that the brain can be rewired. It's rewiring all the time. When you establish a new skill, the myelin sheaths around each neuron get thicker, which makes the processing speed faster. So that's why we get better and better at something we practice. And relationship skills are just another one of those areas where if we practice them, we get better and better at them. They come faster and faster. We spend less and less time in upset and more in that loving place.
So, an example, you want an example what we go through, right?
Yes.
Would be if we were just purring along, and then something happened where I really wanted to process what happened. Let's say it's late at night, and Lion was feeling he really didn't want to.
No, please.
Now that I know his attachment style is avoidant, part of my loving him is to honor what he needs to feel secure, which is when he reports he needs space, that I know not to personalize it. And yet we have an agreement how he takes space, right? How you take space from me is very important to honor my attachment style, which is I want connection more than space when I'm really wanting to have intimacy around something we're having challenges with.
Right, so I may say, honey, I can't handle this right now. I need some time away. I can be back in 20 minutes. Would that work for you?
Yes, it would.
Okay, so then I can get what I need. I can get my needs met. And I can also respect and honor her needs. And in 20 minutes, I can get myself enough back together that I can then come in an open-hearted place. But if she pushed me at that point, I would go out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Although he does need to report that he's coming back to connect, and then I can let him go. Then my nervous system goes, oh, he cares, he wants to connect, but first I give him space so he can do what he needs to do. So it's a dance. It's a real art form.
And maybe it also varies that sometimes we have something going on that we really need to connect with spirit on our own.
Yeah, it's called self-regulation.
To come back into balance.
Mm-hmm.
And then the partner needs to give us the space to do that. It's not always about working it out and processing stuff. Sometimes there's a place for just working things out with spirit.
Yeah, it's called self-regulation when you do your own thing, and when you're needing someone else, it's co-regulation. And the best of life is when you have the choice to have both going on. Those are the most independent, people who have the greatest self-worth is when they have the ability to self-soothe and self-source their own sense of self, and the choice to depend and be interdependent with someone else. They're the ones that thrive. Those are the lasting,
Yes.
intimate relationships.
And even in infants, a mother can't be there 100% of the time.
Yeah.
No caretaker is there 100% of the time. The baby wakes up alone and freaks out because there's no one there, and it cries. And if a secure attached mother, it can be there 80% or more of the time. The baby can learn to handle its own self-regulation in those times, knowing that the likelihood is I'm going to get my needs taken care of. I know I'm going to get my needs taken care of. It might be a little bit delayed. And so there's a tolerance for frustration, or a tolerance for not getting your needs taken care of immediately, which is a sign of maturity. And the same is true in adult relationships. We can be there, if we're there 80% of the time for each other or better, then that's a secure relationship. It doesn't have to be 24/7, 365
Yeah.
days a year.
Yeah.
Because it can't be.
It's impossible.
That's right.
But who is your audience in your courses? Is it couples? Is it singles? Are they also singles coming?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they learn this new distinction of what secure attachment looks and feels like, and what their own style, if it's insecure, what they might be playing out, the kind of partners they might be choosing, a traumatic partner that mimics their childhood, and recycling, and that they don't realize that actually they can find someone to rewire with if they have insecurity.
Yes.
Yep. Singles who have the same pattern appear in every one of their relationships are usually repeating a pattern with a mother or father figure, or both. And so by learning this technology, by learning and understanding the secure attachment model, they can begin looking and judging people for how the relationship's going to go before they get into the relationship, rather than suffer the consequences after the relationship.
Yeah. So it's preventive
Preventive,
work.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
You have people that you work with on the phone, online, in person. You do intensive.
Phone, Skype.
You rescue people's relationships, right?
Yes. We've had great success working with couples in a very intensive retreat, 5 days with us, and they come out completely different after 5 days with us. Their marriages are saved. They have new resources to use. They come back in a state of
So what
deep
does that
love.
look like?
Even
You're
2
not
days.
talking the whole day, probably. You're observing them, or how do you go into their house, or?
Yeah,
Yeah?
we travel to couples to their houses, or we invite them to ours, and we work with them all day.
We also work with them 1 day, 2 day. I do a lot of private work as a therapist for an hour, hour and a half time, phone, Skype, in person. That's
You send them
designed.
away with assignments, or?
It's custom designed,
Yeah, so
based
all
on the
kind of stuff.
nature. If they're in trauma, like a couple that we did where he had 7 sexual betrayals over a 14-year period, we, in a weekend, flipped that one around by having them go into very vulnerable disclosures, and the way we work of owning and repairing, using the secure attachment model, and our own history of 35 years before we got into the neuroscience understanding and all we know about relationship, having lived the dark and light sides before we met each other. So everything's custom designed for whatever's going on, and we just create a very deep personal transformation. Yeah.
So Carista was sharing that she has moments where she feels anxious and she really needs you. Do you have that as well? That there are moments that you really move, that you need something from her, except space, or
That's a good question.
or is space is your
space is the primary
Space
need.
is the primary need. Yes.
Space is the primary need. However, what I learned by being in relationship with Carista and studying this material, is that I actually do need connection. And it has to be balanced with space. But if I don't have connection, then I feel very lonely and separated. If I have connection, and it's the kind of connection that nurtures me, then I'm fed and I feel wonderful, and I'm energized and supported. It's the oasis in the desert. So what I learned is that what I really needed was secure relationship. That I was trying to find relationships in the past that modeled my relationship with my mother, which was insecure. And by finding a secure relationship, I'm going, oh, that's what I was looking for all these years. I was looking for that person I could really rely on and really feel good inside myself and know that that person was going to be there whenever I needed them. And Carista is an ideal partner in that.
Oh,
And what about your other relationships or the men in your life? You
Well, I have many, many wonderful relationships with men and women, and friendships that are deep and profound.
Yes.
Our relationship, our friendship is very deep and profound. And those don't go away because I have a partner, but I bring my partnership into those relationships. So even in my men's groups, I feel like Carista is with me in my heart. She's carried in my heart, even if I'm having lunch with someone else. So that's the feeling of secure relationship that I think we're all looking for. And it's just the old patterns that we're repeating that prevent us from really having what we want. So we recommend understand your patterns first, and then learn the techniques for changing them step by step and moving toward getting what you really want in a relationship.
Thank you. So I've read a number of books about attachment, and your title, Confused About Love, is really intriguing. So, yeah.
It's confused about love, question mark. Are you confused about love really is the question, and then kind of the art and science of secure attachment and passionate love is kind of the subtitle. The whole inspiration behind Confused About Love is sitting in the chair of being a counselor therapist and realizing the common universal theme when I really get down to what couples are struggling with all the different combinations of love mixed with shame, blame, hurt, confusion, is I sit there over and over and I go, they're just confused about what love is and what it isn't. And it's shocking to see how these high achievers who come to me, myself being one, really have no understanding of really what love is and what it does and what it doesn't do. And so we've tried to make it very simple and practical how to rewire.
It's clear inside of us what love is. When I feel nurtured, when I feel held, when I feel warm, when I feel warmth coming from her, I know that I'm being loved. And when I nurture her, and when I love her, and when I support her, and when I'm kind to her, that's love.
well, that feels good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The confusion comes because of the mixture we got from our parents of their holes in their own souls, their patterns of behavior, the issues that they had as children.
Yes.
So that's where the confusion
And
comes.
as we start discovering ourselves when we're young and we start having sexual relationship, we find out that many sexual or erotic connections with people are not about love.
Right.
Yes,
And sometimes when there is love, this is the part that's lacking.
yes.
So sometimes the sex is lacking when it is about love. So it's very crazy making when you think, oh well, it all has to come together, and there has to be this passion when that's not
But
happening.
so much of it is in the neurological wiring, which we explain in our teleseminars. The thing that's amazing is that most people, through their experience, their patterning is that love is mixed with shame. Love is mixed with guilt. Love is mixed with, judgment. And so they think when they bond with someone, if those are the dominant elements, that that's part of what relationship is, and it's not.
And the other part of passion is that when you feel secure, you can open.
Oh, yes.
Especially for the feminine. When she feels secure, she can open her heart, she can open her mind, she can open her body, she can have much more pleasure and much more excitement. And so security actually creates more passion.
Yeah.
So the insecure part of relationships where it's like, do I, don't I, can I, can't I, is that okay, is
I
that
don't
not
trust
okay?
you.
Right.
I'm actually going to challenge you about you saying that, especially the feminine, because I'm a man and I need a woman to love me,
Yeah.
and I need to make sure that she loves me and that she's there for me to also open up and feel safe in this relationship. That may sound strange, but
Yeah.
I'm a man, and I'm very clear that in a romantic relationship,
Yeah.
when that's the important thing, I need a woman to love me and to
Yes.
be there.
Yes.
Right. That enables you to open
Yes.
to deeper awareness, to deeper feelings. And that's where the passion comes from.
Yeah, Lion is reflecting something I would concur. There are certainly mature, conscious men who connect their sexuality with their heart. In women's work, which I've done a lot of women's groups, particularly older women who, as their hormones change, post-children, menopause, the sexual energy is really nurtured and opened when a woman's heart is feeling enriched by her lover. And in that regard, if she's feeling resentment or she's feeling mistrust or she's suppressing her feelings, I find in my practice 9 times out of 10 it reflects in a shut down sexual intimacy. And that when the couple, both of them, and particularly for women, are able to share their resentments and the partner really cares and wants to rewire the insecurities to secure direct experience for the woman, the passion returns. And it certainly works both ways, absolutely. I love that you represented that for the men. I wish more men felt that way and made that a priority.
Well,
it's
I think
important.
they do, and maybe
not,
they're not necessarily aware of that.
The need.
That's
beautiful.
That's what's needed. And there are also men who don't necessarily need it.
Yeah.
And there are many relationships that are not that loving and, and that work for both people and for many years.
For sure.
Right. And we can also make the distinction between lust and passion and intimacy and love. You know, it's like there's a big spectrum.
Different centers in the brain.
Right.
There's a lot of study has been done that the center that makes you fall in love is not necessarily the center that gets you turned on.
Exactly.
And that can be completely...
Oh yeah, the hormones change.
Yeah.
The oxytocin wears off.
So one other question: when you do your practice, how long does it take for somebody to rewire? Actually,
Well, the neuroscience, depending on the couple, but minimum we'd say 6 months to 12 months if the couple's in a committed practice and they're really learning how to rewire the actual practices to do that. 6 months to a year to kind of transform very strong insecurity. Even with our expertise, 6 months to a year. And we were dear friends first, but as partners, brought up all kinds of bonding issues. And for many, it can take up to 3-5 years, depending on how rigorous they are and the nature of the insecurity and whether there's trauma in there. But it's an ongoing practice. We're still in a level, you know, a strong growth curve.
Yeah, and remember that the patterns that you've had for 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years.
Yes.
So we're trying to rewire something that's very deeply embedded, and so it does take time, but it can be done. That's the exciting thing, is that you can learn to rewire, you can change the nature of your bonding pattern, you can change the nature of your relationships, and it's nothing but joy on the other side.
there is hope. There's hope for so many couples that are watching that feel stuck or they feel they can't.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, look, out of 1.5 hour talk we had on your first show, you started to get distinctions. And so, you know, the basics, you can have quick transformation. The mastery takes longer.
One last question, and this may come as a surprise. What's hot for you?
She is.
Well, it's been great to have you back. I love your clarity and your serenity, and I love how you embody strength and sensitivity. Thank you for watching. We'll be back with more conversations about how to have healthier and happier relationships.
Se vos escrevemos, não está a escrever. Se vos esquecer, não está a esquecer. Até o dia que vou voltar. Se vos escrever-me, não está a escrever. Se vos esquecer, não está a esquecer. Até o dia que vou voltar. Saudade. Saudades, minha terra, São Nicolau.